Dear students of class 7, welcome to you all. I was discussing in my last class the Khalji dynasty, and Alauddin Khalji, the most powerful ruler of the dynasty, who introduced economic reforms and market regulations. Now, the third and the last ruler of the dynasty was Qutbuddin Mubarak Shah. And one of his slave, you see that killed him, his own slave, and thus ended the Khalji dynasty. Next, we see that the Khusru Khan, the name of the slave, Khusru Khan, who killed Qutbuddin Mubarak Shah, but in 1321, the Khusru Khan was killed by a governor of Dipalpur, Ghazi Malik. After killing him, he ascended the throne and a new dynasty was founded. Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq founded Tughlaq dynasty. Now, you see that he was succeeded by Mahmud bin Tughlaq and Firoz Shah Tughlaq. About Mahmud bin Tughlaq, the most important ruler, he was very wise ruler, a versatile genius. He knew many languages and also ruled the country properly, efficiently. But he also adopted several projects or plans which he introduced it but could not become successful. The first project was the transfer of capital from Delhi to Devgiri, which was renamed by him Dolatabad. It was about 1,500 kilometers away. Perhaps the reason was that continuous Mongol invasion in Delhi and the northwestern frontier region. He thought that Dolatabad would be in central India and would be safe to rule the country properly. So he ordered all the people of Delhi to shift to, you see that shift their actually home and go to Dolatabad. However, it was ordered during the summer. On the way, many people died, and ultimately, you see that he remained there for 2 years, but he found that the continuous Mongol invasion, he could not do anything. I mean, he was a failure, or he could not control the situation naturally, and he again ordered to go back or return to Delhi. So that made the people unhappy and Sultan became unpopular. It also caused heavy drainage of men and money. We know that another project he introduced was the imposition of taxes in the Doab region. Doab is a fertile tract of land between Ganga and Jamuna. He thought that he would be able to collect revenue from Siddhartha from that region. But unfortunately for the Sultan, that year the severe famine broke out. And naturally the peasants were unable to pay the revenue and they fled into the jungle. So this is how the project failed. Another project, see that the introduction of token currency. Following the model of Persia and China, he introduced a bronze coin which would be as good as silver coin, Tonka. However, he did not take any proper step, so people began to forge it, and when it was circulated in the market, the forged coin, the merchants refused to accept it. Trade and commerce began to decline. So, this is and Sultan was compelled to take back the coins and give him compensation. That was a failure. Another project was military expedition. He also maintained army and sent expedition to Karichal in the Garhwal Humayun region, which was also failure. Similarly, also he sent expedition to Central Asia, and that was not successful. So, all the projects he made some unique, but you see that due to proper arrangements or decision, because the decision was taken very rapidly and quick decision, naturally these projects or plans could not success or was a failure. All the projects were a failure, and it made the Sultan very unpopular. It also caused heavy drainage of, you see that, the money. And now, after we see that Firoz Shah Tughlaq was a benevolent ruler. He is called Akbar of the Sultanate period. He adopted many generous welfare, see that the measures. He also established Darul Safa, a charitable hospital for the people. However, he also established city of Tughlaqabad, Tughlaqabad, etc. And Firozabad. Now, Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Now, you see that during this time, Taimur invaded India, and after his death, you see that after the Firoz Shah Tughlaq, Taimur invaded India 1398. I shall discuss about Taimur later. Now, 1 minute I can just link up it. Taimur invaded India and plundered Delhi and looted it, killed thousands of people, brutally murdered the people, brutally killed the people. He was a Mongolian chief coming from Central Asia, very ruthless and barbarous. And you know that while he returned, after plundering Indian wealth, he appointed one Khizr Khan of governor of Dipalpur as his deputy. And Khizr Khan now became the ruler of new dynasty. A new dynasty was founded by him. It was called known as Sayyid dynasty. 3 rulers successively ruled: Mubarak Shah Sayyid, Muhammad Shah, and Alauddin Alam Shah. And you see that ultimately Alauddin Alam Shah, the last ruler, was killed in 1451, killed by an Afghan chief, Bahul Lodi, an Afghan chief. So, he established a new dynasty called Lodi dynasty. Bahul Lodi was the founder, killing Alauddin Alam Shah. So, founded Lodi. Sorry. We see that in this way, we can see that the Bahul Lodi was the founder. He was succeeded by Sikandar Lodi, and the last ruler of the dynasty was Ibrahim Lodi. Ibrahim Lodi, during his time, Babur invaded India in the year 1526. Ibrahim Lodi was also, you see that not very popular among the people, and also nobles did not like him. However, it is the battle of Panipat. Babur came from Pergonas, from Central Asia, and in the battle, Babur defeated Ibrahim Lodi. Thus, the Sultanate rule, the last dynasty, came to an end. A new dynasty was founded by Babur. It was known as Mughal dynasty. It will be discussed later. However, what was the relationship between the ruler and the noble? All the rulers, the slave dynasty belonged to the slave. They were purchased from the market. They did not belong to any noble family, and most of them captured the power. You see that or sometimes they were favored by the Sultan, etc. And during this time, Iltutmish, when slave dynasty was ruling, Chahalgani group, a group of 40 Turkish nobles was established. Chahalgani group, and they are very powerful. They control the entire political see that the affairs of the empire. We know that Chalgani group was so powerful that they wanted to place a puppet in the on the throne, and however Rajya opposed them, but Rajya was killed because Rajya was not so powerful. And it is the Chahalgani group, a group of 40 was suppressed by Ghiyasuddin Balban. Ghiyasuddin Balban, a very powerful ruler, he introduced Persian customs, Sijda and Payabes. Sijda raised the dignity and power and prestige of the emperor, Sultan. It was prostrating before the ruler and kissing the feet of the emperor. Now, we see that the strict administrative system was introduced by Ghiyasuddin Balban, I already mentioned, and thus we see that another important thing is the empire building. I can mention three persons: Alauddin Khalji, the first powerful ruler who conquered south and conquered not only many places, you see that the regions of northern India, but also advanced up to the Rameswaram and captured or conquered several and defeated several dynasties and conquered many regions. And next we can say the Ghiyasuddin Balban and another powerful ruler, and also Mahmud bin Tughlaq. However, this is how the vast empire was established. Generally, in the beginning we see there is a garrison town. You know that at that time the Mongols frequently attacked Delhi or India, through the northwestern frontier, I see that the region, and they built towns where the people lived within it, and it was fortified, and within it the permanent army was stationed. It was called garrison town, and this type of town was built by Ghiyasuddin Balban. Many fortresses were built in order to save the kingdom from Mongol attack, etc. However, what about the Sultanate administration? Sultan was at the top of the administration. He divided empire was divided into provinces, several called Iqtas, and Iqtas were supervised by under Walis and Muftis. We see that there were besides the Iqtas or below the Iqtas there are Sikhs, and below the Sikhs the Pergonas. Iqtas, Sikhs and Pergonas. However, the Pergonas and Sikhs were ruled by Sikhdars, Sikhs by Sikhdar and Pergona by Amil. What is a Pergona? Pergona is a group of villages, under Mukaddam, official. Mukaddam meaning he was the headman of the village headman. And you see that and Patwari and Munsi was the two important officials. Patwari, besides Mukaddam, Patwari and Munsi were two important officials at local level. Patwari kept the land records and maintained the land records, and Munsi collected the land revenue. So, this is the thing about the Sultan administration, and also Sultan appointed favorite slaves or nobles as governor of various provinces. As you know that Qutbuddin Aibak appointed whom? Muhammad Ghuri appointed Qutbuddin Aibak. Similarly, Qutbuddin Aibak appointed Iltutmish, etc. Now, you see that the Samantas or local chieftains, local rulers or Samantas or feudal lords, very powerful, they paid taxes to the Sultan or supplied army during the time of warfare. Various types of taxes were collected from the peasants. One of them was Kharaj, Kharaj. Kharaj was 50% of the produce was collected from the peasants. There is also, we see that the house tax and cattle tax on cattle or house tax were collected, etc. Now, decline of the Sultanate Empire. It is one of the major reasons of the Taimur's invasion. In 1398, the Mongolian chief from Central Asia invaded India, and he completely destroyed the stability of the Sultanate Empire. He plundered the capital city for a long time, killed thousands of people, and you see that the return to his own country with heavy amount of you see that the booty or plundered wealth, and he appointed Khizr Khan as his deputy. However, whatever it may be, another one we see that you see that there is a war of succession always continued, you see that for the throne, and we know that there is no stability. For example, the Sayyid brothers, you can see that 3 brothers came and they could not rule properly. This is how the Bahar al-Lodi killed the last ruler and founded the new dynasty. So, there is we see that the sultans were not very popular. They, for example, Ibrahim Lodi and many other Firoz Shah, you see that I can mention the name of Mahmud bin Tughlaq. Mahmud bin Tughlaq adopted several projects or plans, but it was a failure and it made the people unhappy. So, this is how you see that there is a war of succession among them. There is also, and most of the sultans are weak and unable to rule the country, unworthy or incompetent, excepting a few, Ghiyasuddin Balban or Alauddin Khilji, etc. This is how we see that the Sultan rule began to decline, and ultimately a new dynasty emerged, namely Mughal dynasty. It was founded by Babur in the year 1526, defeating the last ruler of the Lodi dynasty, Ibrahim Lodi. So, thank you. Next day I shall discuss a new chapter.